Sir?
We're good.
Okay,
That's fine.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'll stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ma'am, would you do?
Almighty God, please join us here today as we make our decisions and guide us in the wisdom with only your knowledge can bring us. Look over us, our staff, our clients, and just please be with us and bless us to make the right decisions. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Director Leroy Pinder.
Here.
Director Kelly Von Fintel. Vice President Dolores Schlicker.
Here.
President Phil Potter.
Here.
Secretary Robert Turek, present. Director Pam McKinnon.
Here.
Member at Large Commissioner Carolyn Brumman. And Treasurer Roland Lynch is absent, excused.
Thank you. We need everybody's looked over the minute or the agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting. I'll second.
Motion by Larson and Kelly, seconded by Dolores to approve the agenda for our meeting today. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Approve the minutes from our last meeting for November 26th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the 26th, November 26th.
Motion by McKinnon, seconded by Pender to approve the minutes of our November 26th regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment. Nobody's in attendance, so we'll move on to presentations from Andy Shaw, Developer Construct Manager.
So, on the senior housing, everything is finished except, we haven't turned the water on yet. We did the underground lines from the building to the houses and, the plumber's gotta do some final connections, but it's really gonna be best we wait just a little bit and, get a little bit warmer because he's gotta run a lot of water outside, so. Kind of a month or so ago, we just thought that it'd probably be best to wrap the whole job before we started filling those houses up and. Just one little kid making the wrong move at the wrong time, could be catastrophe, we just don't need, so. We're gonna kind of, get that going as we, move to finishing everything. On the building itself, of course, we have all of our utilities, all of the building is about 65 degrees, which is great. We took a while to get the heat out of, to get the slab warmed up and the steel warmed up and get our drywall warmed up. So today we're receiving 3 semi trucks, 2 so far, 1 more, which is all of our wood for the gym. So last night we finished basically the entire gym. So it's prime, painted, our lights are on, our ductwork's in, our electricity's in. The floor slab is all cleaned up. We got a nice compliment this morning from this crew, very professional crew, Kuhn Flooring. They said it's the cleanest site they've come to in 18 years. So we washed the windows. We just really hustled them last night to have it be perfect. And excuse me. The starting them off with that kind of momentum is a good thing. Excuse me. Getting over a cold. So that's the gym, things are coming along. And then on the kitchen, we have hood in, fire suppression in, electrical they're working on right now on the ceiling, ductwork's in, all the tiling is done. We just have to do a little bit of grouting of the tile. And soon we'll be taking all of our equipment. So probably within a month, our kitchen should be 100%. The offices are fully drywall. We have our drops finished. We have all of our low voltage drops, electrical, and then we'll be priming the offices starting tomorrow. So we're just doing some fine some fine, sanding right now. We're priming today the prep room, so that's, coming right along. Our drywall, we're probably about 98% finished drywall, so we've got, just a little bit, we're kind of waiting on the electrician on a couple of spots in the main dining hall. But, probably by Friday night, Saturday night will be, all of our drywall that's, on the job will be done. So that's a pretty good milestone, except for the drywall ceilings, because you gotta do more stuff with the drywall ceilings, but there's not that large an area as drywall ceilings. On the front, it got so cold that we were just burning up so much propane. It made sense to kind of just pause the drive right now. It's just too much to fight. Same with, we've got all the stone up on the exterior, but we're doing final grouting and kind of doing some sealing and stuff like that. And same thing, it just made sense to hold off on that. It's just we spend too much time and money just not making much progress with these really cold temperatures. So I put the skids on that a little bit. And then otherwise, on a daily basis, we've got about, we've got about 4 units. We're still doing some finished ductwork on, but most of our ductwork's finished and the actual installation's finished on the duct itself. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. And then on of course, all of our in-wall plumbing, electrical, and all that stuff is finished. And that's it. We're just kind of continuing along, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, and then we'll be moving into finished paint in the offices. All of our doors are on site, all of our frames, all of our flooring. We've got carpet over poles and the laminate stuff actually on the job site. So that's really it. We're just cooking right along, and this is a fun stage because we make a lot of progress every day, so.
Good. Any questions for Andy?
Do we have any idea about when we might move in?
Yeah, right now we're working towards March 31st, and a little bit of that is if we have these cold temperatures relentlessly, let's just say to March 31st, which I've seen before, we're gonna be pushing it negative. But if we get any kind of break, like last year, we were super fortunate, we were doing exterior work on March 1st. So that's the only kind of unknown at the moment as far as we'll just, because we can't have this huge park over the front entrance, for our first thing. So, and if these temperatures continue, it's hard. It's hard to make any exterior progress right now. So, but hopefully get a break and so if we had last year's March 1st, we've been in great shape, so we'll just see, let's see how these, and then the other thing is we have to fire up our septic system, and it has to essentially be thawed, not perfectly thawed, but it's got to be 40s and 50s kind of thing, because we're running water, and each one of these little orifices, it kind of looks like a water pump almost. It's got to spray up, and we do what there'll be about 8 people out there, the engineers, the health department, and this other company, Mild Supply, and it has to be fairly warm to kind of set all these parameters on these floats and what have you. So if we, again, goes March 31st and it's still what we're seeing today, we're gonna have to push back a little bit. So, but as long as we get any kind of break at all, we should be looking good.
What about the housing? Are they being heated right now?
We are just at like 62, they're heated and the electricity's on. We've got a lot of data. They run about 100 a month, round numbers, just to kind of keep everything about just right. So, but then you don't want to turn your heat off when you got a finished product like that. So
But could the people start moving in now? Would that be
They could.
feasible?
they could. The problem, the risk is that it's not just the person living there, but it's whoever might come see them and what have you. And right now, the site's just too enticing for children. We've got a lot of big trucks, even today, it's a pretty hectic site today. We've got telehandlers running around and it's really not the right environment to invite people in just yet. So we'll soon though, we'll be,
Okay.
I understand, look, great to get that money in, but on the other side, you kill one person and that's That's millions of dollars, you know, and so we just gotta be really careful, and I don't wanna be sitting in front of a judge going, well, what the heck were you thinking? Why did you invite these people on the job site? You know better than that. So that's kind of the pros and cons there.
Mhm. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. We'll let you get back at her and thank you very much for the update.
Oh, believe me, it was cold weather.
Supposed to be 40 Thursday, so.
Oh, yeah, believe me, we got work hours and be on the roof on Thursday all day, got a group of guys up there.
Right.
HVAC stuff, we still gotta wrap up.
So let's hope that continues, but it's supposed to, after 40, it's supposed to drop down back 29 or something like that. So
Yeah.
we'll be all
This
right.
morning, I was running that wall about seven in the morning. And right on the roof.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, we'll move on to representatives from NEMSCO. Nothing. Carolyn? Oh, what?
Wait, I'm here.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. I know that, we just had our meeting yesterday for Region 9, the first one of the year. So there are a couple of things of interest. We did elections at that time, which, happens, and there were just a couple reminders and one guest speaker we had. So one reminder is that the Social Security office is now only doing appointments by or help by appointment only. So just make sure to get that out there that they're trying to do their best customer service. So it's important to call. There's an 800 number, and we can probably provide that in a newsletter or whatever to make everybody aware of it if they're not already. We had a speaker on the Get Set Up program, which I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but I went and logged in on it, and it's a really wonderful free service that's subsidized by MDHHS. So there's no fee for anybody, but there's exercise things. There's how to work your phone. There's how to do all kinds of different topics. Something we might consider showing everybody at a congregate meal or something, just for those who have the ability to do it. It's a really wonderful resource. One other bit of news is that the Michigan Medicare Assistance Program that I've been involved in for our COA, that's helps people during times of open enrollment, but anytime when a senior is hitting the 65 mark and needs help setting up their Medicare, Medicaid. NEMSCA did put in a bid for that program because it is now changing to what is called SHIP. And it looks like they are probably going to win that award for that to remain in our region. So it looks like there won't be any lapse in our ability to cover that. And I think that's really valuable for those who have utilized it. I know I helped several people this year. I'm fully certified now, so I can help anybody at any time. And that's a really important thing to have at our center. Reminder that Older Michiganians Day is May 7th at 9:30. That's in Lansing. There's a lot of really important topics for seniors. We don't know yet, I guess, who the representatives are in terms of advocacy, if anybody's so inclined to contact their senators or their representatives on particular issues. But they're really pushing strongly that our Region 9, because we're so impacted, especially Alcona County, by our demographic, that we attend that and try to impress upon the powers that be the importance of the funding for all of our senior programs. I'm going to try to go to that just because I haven't been before, and I think it's a good opportunity to put a face and a name together. there are a couple of job openings. They're at NEMSCA. So if you know anyone who's in social work or that is interested in special projects, or nutrition, I guess we have Tyler is no longer going to be there after the 1st of February. So there are some job openings at NEMSCA if anyone's looking. And I think that's the main points that I wanted to let you guys know about. Brooke, I can see that you're on the call. Do you have anything you wanted to say?
No, Kim, I think you did a very thorough job of giving the updates, and you can always hand out that report that we started doing as well to the board.
I will do that when I get it. So
Great. Great, thanks, Kim.
that's all I have.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you
Thank you.
for all the information. Okay. Carolyn,
We don't have anything sure if the start of the year, we're closing out, of course, 24 and trying to get 25 up and running, get bills paid out of the right funds and so on. The list of those, excuse me, those, the commissioners who are assigned to the different, things, the different areas that we attend, that has not been finalized. And I'm waiting, when I get that, I will certainly bring a copy for each of you and a couple of extra ones for the office. So you'll have that, but I really don't have anything else today.
okay, thank you.
Do you know, Carolyn, if there's going to be a snowmobile race? Do not know. Don't know yet? Okay.
I thought I saw something on that.
I
On the,
heard talk,
oh, okay,
but I don't know that it's going to happen.
okay. All right, thank you very much. Move on to executive director's report.
I've added a couple of things.
Can I turn your mic on, please? So we can hear you? Thank you.
I've added. I've added a couple of things since I gave the report last week, on the budget section. Patty has been working with Jennifer at Stevenson to get some new GL set up for the new building. Lene has been working actively searching for grants, but I did hear on the news this morning that all federal loans and grants are on hold at this moment. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means for our NEMSCA funding at this point. I don't know if anybody does. It was just announced this morning. So and for job positions, I think that the one position that we need to start searching for would be additional maintenance for the new building. And then for the meals, we served a total of 2,813 meals for the month of November, and 464 of them were congregate. And then we served a total of 3,054 meals for December, with 341 being congregate, but for 2 weeks it was holiday, so we were short like 4 congregates during that time. For in-home service, we have 6 people on our waiting list. And then February 13th, we are having an audit with NEMSCA for the in-home service. And then for some miscellaneous stuff, we had our Christmas dinner with the Cub Scouts, and we served over 75 people for dinner that night. We also received some donations from the Dollar General in Harrisville and the Northland Credit Union. So we want to thank them again for their donation. We had our audit last week with Stevenson's, and it went very well. Cindy stated in our wrap-up meeting that she thinks things are going great, and she's very pleased at what she's seen. And we should have the finalized information in a couple weeks. She did say if the board wanted to have a few board members have a small meeting, she'd be more than willing to come back and sit down, or if we want her to speak at a board meeting, she'd come back for that too. So, I did start the process of increasing the cost of the food program, and it's quite a lot of stuff we have to do for NEMSCO's regulations. So the first step I did was I sent out the survey again. You previously had approved, I believe it was for $4 and $7, but after going through and contacting some other COAs, I mean, most of them are $4.50 and over for 60 and under, for 60 and over, and $8 or more for under 60. So in the letter, I've asked to increase to $4.50 and $8. And I would just need the board to reapprove that so that I have in the board minutes to send to NEMSCO that you approve that cost. I've got quite a few surveys back so far, and the majority of them are yes. So I haven't actually counted every single one, but the majority of them is yes. And then we did start using homemade bread and half gallons of milk, which is a cost saving. And then yesterday, Shay and I and Patty met with Courtney from the Northeastern Michigan Food Bank and started the process of getting reinstated with them to order food for the kitchen through them. That could take 2 to 4 weeks to get everything back up and running. We got very lucky to get back with them. It had to go to very high up to get our approval to get that with the food bank because of the attitude toward them with the previous executive director. So, and that's pretty much all I have.
Okay. So I guess we need a motion to up the food cost. We've started the process of $4.50 and $8 for non-seniors, $4.50 for seniors, correct? And that's to send to NEMSCO to continue with the requirements that they let you know about,
Yes, yep.
okay?
I'll make the motion to follow through with NEMSCO to increase meal prices.
Your second. Okay, motion by McKinnon, seconded by.
Just to be clear, 450 and 8,
Montano.
450 and 8.
Yes,
Do we need an effective date on that?
No, because there's several steps I had to go through, then it goes to NEMSCO and they are ultimately the ones that approve it, so.
so we have a motion by McKinnon, seconded by Von Kennel to up the cost to $4.50 for congregate meals and $8 for non-seniors.
At the earliest possible date.
As soon as NEMSCO approves all the increases.
Is this still a donation or is this a required?
It's a suggested donation.
Okay.
Okay, so roll call, please.
Pinder. A roll call. Von Fittel. Schlicker,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes,
Turek, yes. McKinnon,
Yes.
motion carried. We can draw it up for you. We'll get that
Thank you.
report. Is there anything else that you? Over? Okay, we'll move on to Treasurer's
Do you have,
report.
do you have, everybody have her goals that she has set for 2025? Did I include that? I think it would be helpful if we move to accept those, and if anybody has anything else they would like to add to that, accept that as the basis for her evaluation for next year, so we can have that as opposed to just saying, well, I think you could have done this or should have done this. We have this. Anything else that anybody would want her to add to this? Do it now. Otherwise, we would use this as in the next evaluation. So I would make that motion that we accept this as a basis for what we would like her to accomplish in the next year as a basis for her evaluation next year.
So are you suggesting that Wendy do some of these or try to do them?
Correct.
So go to board meetings like where? At the school board meetings or community events? Are you thinking, church things or
Just be more present out in the public.
and like going to the village meeting or?
Right.
Mhm,
Okay.
definitely. Let them know what's going on here,
Mhm.
you know, invite them down.
I like the idea of number 3 there, going with the meal drivers. That's in my opinion, that's a very important one because I think we're backtracking and we're crossing each other.
We have a motion by Turek,
I'll second.
seconded by Pender to accept, to move that we have executive director goals for 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Bob. Treasurer's report, Rollins not here. Really nothing to add. We have spent in the total amount spent as of 1/14/2025 for the new building. Out of the 12.5 million, we've spent $11,116,845.93. That's as of 1/14, so up that a little bit, probably. I'm sure bills are coming in.
I would move to accept the treasurer's report as provided, subject to audit.
Motion by Turk, seconded by Von Fennel to accept the treasurer's report as presented, subject to audit. Roll call, please.
McKinnon,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Potter,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Von Fintel, Pinder.
Carried. Secretary's report.
We have a couple of executive committee actions that we need to ratify that the executive committee needed to do since the last meeting. They were mainly bookkeeping. One was we're just requesting online viewing and online banking privileges with the ACCOA accounts at AAA Credit Union. And then the second one is authorizes closing accounts at Northland Federal Credit Union. We just have something like $7.50 in one account there that it never been used since I've been on the board. So, what the purpose of that was, I don't know, but that they just needed official board minutes. So the executive committee met and now we need to ratify these. So I guess I would phrase it, first of all, that I would move that we ratify the December 9th, 2024 executive committee action, which says the ACCOA Executive Committee via unanimous vote requests both online viewing as well as online banking privileges if possible on all ACCOA affiliated accounts, both currently held as well as those opened in the future, held at AAA Credit Union. I'll motion that.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by, we're gonna do each one separate.
Yeah, let's do
Okay,
each one. So
motion by Turek, seconded by Flicker to online viewing at Alcona Alpena Area Credit Union for to watch, to look at our funds. We need to,
I don't think so.
you know, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, carried.
And then I would move that we ratify as a board, the December 19th Executive Committee action, which says exactly that the ACCOA Executive Committee by unanimous vote authorizes the closing of all accounts held at Northland Federal Credit Union.
Motion by Kurt, seconded by Fontana, we close our account at Northland Credit Union. All in favor,
Aye.
carried.
I think that's it for my report.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question on the first one. It says online viewing. Can anybody out there? No. Do it? No. Okay. No.
Okay, move the committee reports. We had a financial meeting.
Yeah, we had finance committee meeting. It's pretty self-explanatory there. One of them we'll get into, it's time, the Cindy Scott with Stevenson is requesting to know whether we're going to continue on with them as an auditing firm, so we'll discuss that a little later.
Okay.
And that was it, just what else is there? And then the other committee meeting was the new building project committee,
Correct.
Phil, Pam, and Leroy meeting.
Sarah Jane called me from Real Estate One. She interviewed all the clients that submitted an application for the housing, and only one could come up with the money we were asking. So she put forth her recommendation to lower the price. It says 900 here, but that's a misprint. It's $995. She's still gonna run a special. We're still gonna do the 1400, but she said she can run a special for a year. And the first 8 people that qualify can get it for $995. I called Pam and Leroy, Pam and Leroy. And we all said, you know, it's her recommendation that we do this. So we've dropped the price and she's gonna let me know. And if we don't get anybody around here, we had some kickback that didn't want to go that low. They wanted to go more. She's gonna put it out on social media. And she will get tenants to move in, but I also mentioned to her, and she thought was a great idea from Andy, that we wait till the construction period is over before we let anybody move in there due to some kid climbing up on the equipment or getting a vehicle getting hit or, you know, backing a semi up. So we've decided to wait until the construction period's over to let people move in. For the little bit we may lose, we'll gain by no lawsuit, so. That was our committee meeting, pretty much. That's all I have. Move on to unfinished business. Oh, what?
On yours here,
Uh-huh.
it says, the price would be 900 or
That-
995, whatever. Would then allow the price to be increased at a later date. So are you saying this person's gonna live there for 6 months at 995, and then 6 months after that, we're gonna raise her rent?
No, what it means is, the following year that their lease is up, we will run another promotion. She said we can run another promotion and just leave it the same. But by running promotions, by setting it at a set fee, you can never raise it. You can't raise it. By running promotions, say $995 is not paying the bills. So we have to up it to, let's say, 1,100 or 1,095, 1,095. We can do that legally by taking the proper steps. And that's all through them. That's nothing that we do.
No, but that person that's lived there for a year now might have to move out because they can't afford it, right?
Correct. But they would qualify for the special promotion again, so it'd stay at $995.
Okay,
I think it just gives them the option to do that. There may not be any price increases.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct, it's an option. And then
but I
they-
think that would all come down to whenever a lease is signed, we would make everything clear or at that point in time.
Correct. So then, we'll move on to, have you moved on?
No.
Okay, thank you. Moved on to unfinished business, NEMSCA food program funding.
I'll speak on that. I think my purpose is just to start having a dialogue about what was going on there to make everybody aware of what we're collecting and our options. I mean, I think there's pros and cons to both. I'm not married to either. I don't want it to sound like we can't continue the way we've been doing. Wendy is doing it. It's a business. It's a nonprofit business. She has to balance out how much money we take in versus how much money goes out. But I think the discussion with the NEMSCA people was beneficial. And, it's not anything that we have to decide on right now. She can continue doing the way things they are. Me personally, my concern is that when I hear the NEMSCA personnel say that they know there's fraud and there's abuse, there's people gaming the system, and I hear board members say that they know there's people abusing the system, and when I hear staff saying that they know there's people not paying, the way things are right now, we can't do anything about that. So I can, and I, as a person, I hate that. I don't like the idea that we know that people are abusing the system and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Me personally, I think it's a good step that if we move, raise the food prices up and see where that goes. But one of the things that I got out of the conversation with the NEMSCA personnel is that Wendy can prioritize. She can say, here's how much we have for this home delivered meals program. And you as a person, you can be on our waiting list if we can't take care of you now. So she could prioritize as far as how much money we have and to put forth to that. So I just want to make sure everybody knows we do not have to make a decision to leave NEMSCA. I just think it was beneficial to have them come and have the discussion that we know that there's problems with that and what are our ways of trying to work through those problems.
One of the things that Cindy said at our audit too last week was our congregate meals, people have went up, our home delivered meals have went up, but our donations are going down. Probably because more people are coming or getting meals, but less people are paying. So I don't know, but she said she's seeing that. I mean, it's not just us. And I know the meeting that Kim and I were in yesterday, some of the other COAs were talking and one of them mentioned having to shut down some of their other programs just to keep their food program going, like cut out their homemaking and stuff like that. So they're not getting the donations. I mean, it's not just us, it's everybody.
Okay.
Can I say something? I had my hand up.
I see it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I can hit,
You're just supposed to say, go ahead, Kim.
you go ahead, Kim.
I'm just playing up of what Wendy mentioned and, many of in Region 9 meeting, as they went around to the different COAs, many are struggling like we are. And the food program is one that hardly anybody has ever a wait list for. I mean, we try to do that, of course. So that's good. In the meeting also, I think there were some interesting suggestions, just like with the meeting with NUMSCA representatives. There's a lot of workarounds, a lot of possibilities, especially when we get in the new building, of ways that we can do a fundraiser, and Wendy's aware of all of those, and we kind of been discussing those. So just an example was like once a week or whatever, like a carry out. What were they doing? Soup and
They were doing soup.
soup, bread, and dessert or cookies or something for like $15, and anybody can come by and pick it up. So I think and that was a fundraiser for the food program. So I think there's a lot of room to play there to be maybe more creative than we've been in the past on how to get that fundraising committee up and going.
So if everybody's comfortable, we in the finance committee will just, we try to meet once a month and we'll just keep an eye on things. Getting the audit will help because, in the past, going back the last 5-6 years, donations have always been, let's say $100,000, somewhere around 8 to 10% of our total budget. So it'll be good to see the actual numbers to see. I mean, if you go down to 50,000 there, well, that's $50,000 that need to be made up somewhere. So getting the audit will help, but we'll just keep an eye on it.
Went down like by 11 cents this year, but our home delivered meals, we were getting in last year, 65 cents per meal averaging for donation, and we are up to 87% this year, or 87 cents, sorry. So that was a good thing. I mean, it's not a lot, it's still not, because the average cost for the meal, including our wages in the meal, is $13.12 per meal, is what Cindy had figured out.
$13
12 cents
for home delivery.
for all meal, like, any meal that we serve, that if we include our wages and things like that into it, and the actual meal cost, it comes out to $13.12.
Well, the main con I saw of leaving the NEMSCO funding was the money. I mean, other than that, I saw a lot of pros to leaving, but that $89,000 we get at this point in time, is that something that we're willing to forego?
What is it without the wages? Do you have that?
Yep, it was $3.31 was the average for the year. Last year, it was $3.33. So it went down 2 cents. But getting the food bank back in here could possibly be a huge change, because she said she has a lot of COAs that she audits that use the food bank, and their costs are way lower than even the $3.31. It's hard, after talking with Courtney yesterday, there's some things we're just not gonna be able to get through the food bank, cause like she said, when it comes to like meat and things like that, you're only limited so much each, company. So we might only be able to get 2 cases of burger, which maybe to make the meals for the day, we need 5 cases, but I think the things like, the things like, canned goods, beans, rice, noodles, things like that. Cause all of the stuff from the food bank, all in all, it's free. All we're paying for is the delivery charges of it. And the packaging for them to send it. The food actually comes from, like Feeding America or whatever, and you're getting the food for free. So,
We used to do that. We used to use a lot of food bank products. And serve it.
right,
You just gotta get back
The,
on.
the odds are the labor portion of that is gonna go up a little bit next year. I mean, in general, labor costs go up. But there is some new federal laws that have come across as far as now we need to up people's paid time off. Right? So that's gonna add to the labor portion of everything we do.
that law. I wasn't gonna say a whole lot about it, cause we don't really know yet, I know it passed the House, but not the Senate. For full-time employees, which we are generous with our sick time or our PTO. So we should be okay for our full-time employees. It's the part-time employees that don't accumulate. They're going to accumulate 1 hour every 30 hours they work. Even if they work 30 hours once a month, they're still gonna get 1 hour of sick time. And this can roll over, continuously roll over. We don't have to pay it out, you know, if they leave, resign, whatever. The thing that's gonna stink is it's kind of a protection for employees that abuse sick time because there's nothing you can do about it. You can't write them up, you can't, you know, I mean, it's not good for small companies under 50 employees.
So right now, we altered the employee handbook that PTO time does not carry over at the end.
$4. So we have to allow at least 72 to carry over.
With the
To
new
be
changes,
in-
you mean?
With the new, to be in compliant with, if that law passes on February 23rd. Because we're already above what we need to do we're already giving them the allotted amount, I guess, or above what we would have to, say, we only gave them, 1 week for the first year they were here. Then we would have to give them the additional 72 hours a year or more. I mean, because no matter what, they get 30, or 1 hour every 30 hours that they work.
Is that 30 hours a week or 30 hours total?
30 hours total.
Total.
So it's also kind of a nightmare because you are gonna have to keep track of every single person's hours. Not as much full-time employees, but the ones that maybe work 20 hours a week or 16 hours a week or 23 hours a week, you know, once they accumulate that 30 total, then they'll get 1 hour into their sick bucket.
Kim, do you still have your hand up for this or? Okay. Did Sydney give an opinion as to how our overall price of 13.12 compared to the other COAs? If not, I mean, I'll ask her when when she presents the audit.
It was $9.81 with the wages, and then I added the $3.31, which came up to the $13.12. And then she did have, I mean, this could be another committee meeting, but she did give us some good information. She sits on a board for a nonprofit, which I know ours is profit, but a nonprofit fitness center. And she gave us some good information on memberships and how their memberships work, and so she was helpful with that.
Okay. No other questions or opinions? We'll move on to senior citizen service agreement with Alcona County.
So every year we have to sign the agreement with the commissioners to administer our millage funds, and then we have requirements that we have to fulfill on our part, Open Meetings Act, and providing Carolyn with, documentation and such like that. So every year we have to sign that, and it's in the process of being worked out. But I think we as a board can authorize our president to, barring any changes other than the date of that, authorize him to sign either an extension or sign the agreement once it's presented to him, provided it's just only a date change. So I would make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Turk, seconded by Schlicker to authorize the president to sign the agreement with this county or Alcona County Commission. The only changes would be the date that may be changed or the signature. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. New business agreement with Stevenson and Company for yearly audit.
So Cindy is requesting to know at this meeting, preferably, if we're going to continue going with them for the future. Now, she wrote a letter and she gave the price of what it would be if we went with them for 5 years. Right now, we're on the 3-year. This is the final year. So she's requesting to know as soon as possible. We don't have to go with a full 5 years, but she just laid it out there. And we had asked Wendy to follow up with some other firms just to get an idea of their price and their availability. And I'll let Wendy talk about that.
I called 2 of them who, I know 2 of them were not taking on new clients. And then one of them that she called, I know they told her they weren't taking new clients and wanted to know who we had now, and she told them Stevenson, and they told her, you got the best around, you should stick with them and do not lose them. So, I mean, I don't know, if that was just local. It sounds like they're all booked. If we would want to pursue, we'd probably have to go, out of the area. I know she tried reaching the one at Carolyn Nader, and that was out of the UP somewhere, right? That the
Kinchlow.
county uses. Marquette, is it? Kinchlow?
Kinchlow, it's the one that the county uses.
Yeah. I think last I knew she was kind of playing phone tag with them, so.
And then we had asked Wendy, Carolyn, Dolores had talked about in the past whether it's advantageous to switch, firms from year to year or after a term. And it sounds like that when we did that in the past, it didn't work out so well. We were glad that we went back to Stevens. And then the other suggestion that Carolyn made was sticking with the same firm, but getting a different team at that firm. And it doesn't sound like that's an option. It sounds like the other team isn't taking on any. So, I think we did our due diligence to see if it's in our best interest to go with somebody else. And I don't see really, me personally, any option than just to stay with them. I just don't think we need to do 5 years.
One of the things that, and this was brought up when Lenny first came on board, I was told, and I don't even know who told me, but I was told that it's good to switch because this other company might find something new where the company that we have over and over and over again is looking at the same things over and over and over, where a new company might come in and they might find this, or they might find that, or whatever. So it really doesn't matter to me, but that's just what I was told. It's a good idea to switch around every 5-10 years.
But if no other companies are taking on new clients, we're pretty much
Right.
obligated, I think, because we're not gonna sit out and miss 2-3 years and, it would cost twice as much.
We use Stevenson's. We have for 20 years, 20+ years. They're a great company. I would vote to stay. If it was an insurance company, I agree you should get quotes every 5 years. But if you have something and it's not broke and it's working. Because when you switch, every time you switch, the new people have to get used to what they're seeing. That takes time. You're gonna invest more money in their wages. It costs more money in the long run, so.
I've
I don't
been
agree with
very,
money, but that's
I-
not unusual.
I agree with Pam. I mean, I think what been with all the issues we've had before, I think she knows exactly what to look for, the certain areas to look for. Cause there was some things she's like, is this right? Like, for instance, one of them was, office supplies. She's like, you guys went from averaging spending $1,400 a month on office supplies to $300 a month. I mean, office supplies is actual office supply, medical supply stuff, the gloves, the hand sanitizer, things for the direct care worker, the labels for the kitchen, that stuff. Previously, they were spending $1,400 a month on whatever. Now it's 300. She's like, what did you do? And I said, well, not everybody has access to Amazon and can just go out and buy willy-nilly anymore. Everything that somebody wants, I place the order and approve the order. It's not just free will to whoever wants to go out and buy, because who knows what people were buying. I mean, that, to me, I think that's one of the big things, but there's things that she, she got, because she knows the history. And I personally think too, this year is gonna be a really challenging year, because half of our year is here. And then our next 6 months is gonna be in that new building. There's gonna be a lot of different things.
Yeah,
well, I would be happy signing up for another 3 years for them.
Would the cost be the same for 3 years as it is for 5? You know, she's giving us a cost for 5 years here.
Well, when I asked her to draw up another contract or another letter for a lesser term, she just said scratch out the other one. So I'm gonna say yes,
Okay.
that if we didn't go with 28 and 29, that 25, 26, and 27 would be the same. I mean, it's not a contract, but she just said cross out the years that you wouldn't do.
But come 28 and 29, are they gonna up it from 17,250 to 19,250 and then? You know, if we sign up for this as 5 years, we're gonna be sure that we're gonna only pay 17,750 for the 5th year. Where if we sign up for 3 years, that might be 21,000, you know? Would it be better to do the 5 years? I don't think the prices are gonna come down for audits. You know, I don't think 2029 will be 15,000. I think it'll probably be around 21, 22. And if we sign up for 3, then we're losing out on $4,000 on our 5th year to try to renegotiate or to sign up for another. The shorter term you go, the more it usually costs. That's what I'm saying. If you go to 5 years, I think you'd be better off. I think so. I think we'd be better off.
I see the point on that. My concern is I don't like being handcuffed by a previous decision that a previous board has made. Or I wouldn't like to handcuff somebody else. You know, if we go 5 years, whoever's on the board 3 years from now, which might be different people, they're locked into it. They might decide, well, look, I wanted to do that, but a previous board decision locked me into it. And I'm just giving you another view of that. Carolyn, what's your length of term commissioners?
go year to year, but we also know that we're going to stick with them. Occasionally we'll do a 2-year, but I don't know that we've ever done a 5-year contract. I suspect that if you went with a 3-year contract, your pricing for 2028 would not be $17,250.
No, it'd be more.
That's what
More like,
I'm for 5 years myself,
I am too.
because that, I know in my heart of hearts that they're with a good company. So it doesn't bother me to leave them the next board or whatever.
That's my opinion. That's what I
I
was
mean, you
thinking
might
too,
get
that
it
we know
cheaper
that
for
these,
somebody that's just starting,
right,
but would you feel good about that? Yeah,
20 years.
Well, she would like us to decide today.
okay. 3 years, hands? 5 years, hands?
oh,
Motion? Did I miss one?
we need a motion.
We just said 3 hands, if you wanted 3 years, raise
Oh.
your hand.
I'll go 5.
I'll motion that it's 5 years.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Pinder, seconded by Von Finnel to accept the contract with Stevenson to do our audits for a 5-year that they have presented us from 2025 to 2029.
Oh, she has to bring donuts for that.
What?
Oh, she has to bring
He
donuts
has to bring donuts.
for the staff.
Okay, we need a roll call vote on that, please.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes,
McKinnon,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Von Fittel? And Pinder.
Yes.
okay, carried 5 years, we send for Stevenson.
I did have some other new business also.
Okay,
A couple things, as board members, one of our duties is the formulation and oversight of policies. And so I want to make sure, and I'm looking back in some of the things we've talked about in the past, I probably haven't done a good enough job of making sure that our executive director knows that something is a policy change that the board is instituting as opposed to a recommendation or a question or a comment. So one of the things that I look at in the past we've discussed that's not clear to me is what we are doing as a board policy change as far as having our executive director look at getting rid of the vehicles we still have. So I'd like to clarify if we as a board are instituting a policy change that we want our executive director to follow, because it's not fair if it's not clear. I did see that Thunder Bay Transport is now, there was an ad in the Alcona Review that they're doing transportation services in Alcona County. So my recall is we have 2 vehicles, transportation vehicles left. We have,
man,
Have the bus, and then there's 1 van, and then we have the Traverse, which we do use the van and the Traverse a lot. The assessors use those when they go out, we've used them to go to different seminars, different things, just because it's cheaper to put gas in there than what it is to pay for mileage. Now mileage just went up again. 5 cents, 5 more cents, so it's 70 cents a mile. So all in all, there's at least the Traverse we'd like to see.
I reached out to the Thunder Bay Transit too, and I asked them how they do how they can come down to like the old apartments and pick up people. I saw them in Harrisville. And they told me that they have their clients call the insurance company, and the insurance company gives them the okay if it's on their insurance company for transportation, for medical appointments. That the insurance company actually pays Thunder Bay Transit. So that's something I think that we should probably investigate is reach out to the clients and say, if you need transportation, check with your insurance policy holder to see if they pay for transportation. And if they do, I don't see a problem with transporting them under, you know, reach out to Angie up at Thunder Bay Transit and say, what do you charge over what the insurance company pays? It might be zero, I'm not sure.
But then I think we would have to get back into the transportation program and follow whatever, I don't know, it hasn't been a program since I've been here.
Mhm.
Do you know, Kelly? I mean, you were here, do you know? That was-
I know
It
that,
cost us $106,000 for that transportation program.
I know that as
Yeah.
far as insurance, I know Medicaid pays for doctor's appointments, Medicare, some plans will pay for medical transportation. But those are usually typically like if they hire a driver or something, that's what I'm familiar with. I know the transportation was a hot button issue.
Yeah.
well, when Lenny was here, we lost money big time.
It was $166,000.
Really lost a
Yeah,
lot.
but he was paying drivers to go to side, or to go
I
out of
know.
the county too. I mean, we need to stay for clients in the county and have a,
But then again, you got this guy that's got a doctor appointment in Alpena. And the doctor's running late, so our driver, which we're paying $12, $15 an hour, is gotta sit there and wait to bring that client back home.
but that money that we're paying, we wouldn't be paying it, the insurance company
It would be
pays.
their insurance
It,
company.
you know,
They pay our driver.
oh yeah, if you submit it, you know, it's gonna be $75 and they approve it, or $100, whatever, per trip, round trip. I mean, that's something we'd have to look into.
Right.
I'm all in favor of trying to reinstate as long as it's run properly. If it's not run properly, like before, it was 160,000 we lost. Reason? I don't know the reason. I wasn't that familiar with the board. I wasn't familiar with the operation that that the past administration was running.
Yeah, and we had negotiated a very, very low rate of reimbursement with DHHS or something like that. So Susan Cray, when she came in and filled in as interim executive director, had said that there was a possibility of negotiating a higher rate. So subsequent to that, the board said we left it up to our executive director to pursue if that was feasible doing a renegotiating. So that's not really clear. I mean, to her and to us, are we doing a transportation program? Are we keeping this vehicle to do trips to Nobbies or games? Or are we going to say, look, Wendy has said she's talked to other companies, other COAs, they're all getting rid of their transportation programs. Okay. We're asking people to pay more for congregate meals. Now, is this that shows that, look, we need a little money, we're tight. Do we keep paying interest and keep these vehicles on hand? If we're not using them, we're not going to use them. That's the question. I think we need to be clear with our executive director that what is our policy towards this going forward?
If I recall correctly, and something about this is sticking out, when Shauna was in charge of the transportation program, I believe it was also part of her job, or she would help the seniors call their Medicare or their insurance company, because some people get really intimidated by that. So I do believe that Shauna, that was part of her job when she was setting up schedules for riders or whatever. She was helping the seniors as well. So if we reinstate another transportation program that to maintain hours and so they're not twiddling their thumbs, that is another option to consider.
So we would have to have a driver and basically,
Unless they're the same person. No, I don't know how that would all work. I don't know if you want somebody running it and then a driver, or the driver's in charge of the program. That's entirely up to you, I would think, to Wendy. But that is an option.
I'm assuming that Wendy doesn't have a staff member right now who is not working half of the day and who would have time to do this. So that would entail a new staff member.
Well, like I said, I don't know what she's thinking of doing, like if we did reinstate the program, but that's, I know that Shauna, I feel Shauna, that was part of her job.
I think if we reached out to Thunder Bay Transportation, I'm sure that they would be more than interested in them vehicles if we do not go the road to. I'm pretty sure,
At least the bus,
both,
yeah.
both, I really believe that they would,
Something that Wendy had said about some of these other centers is how they're struggling. That you might have to cut back on your services, like your in-home services.
Mhm.
I would hate, beyond hate, having to cut back on in-home services. People need those.
I would. rather-
And I would not want to impose another thing that we already know was a failure. And end up having to take that because we wanted transportation that we don't belong in.
I would agree with you 100% on if we, instead of losing
I mean,
a service that we're
we're that
doing right
close.
now. To get rid of the transportation, if we got rid of the bus and the vehicle.
Well, I've been saying it for
I know you
a
have.
long time. so
And
you
that's
know
what
where
I'm saying.
stand.
Looking back at the notes, I don't think they were quite clear how motions were phrased. So if we can make it clearer now that if we as a board do not want to bring back a transportation program and that we're authorizing a policy change to sell those existing vehicles, I think that would be much clearer for our executive director.
Are we thinking of selling the bus and the one car or whatever, and then keeping one for our people that's gotta go out to the home and assess keeping one or sell all three?
I wouldn't sell off.
I wouldn't sell, I would only sell the bus
I
to
would,
begin with.
I would be in favor of selling the bus. I think that's the least used vehicle that we have.
And that way, if somebody that wasn't handicapped, that needed a ride somewhere, it could still be provided.
Right.
You know, a van, you can get, what, 7 passengers in there? Is it a 7 passenger?
I think it's maybe 4 because it does have the wheelchair.
Oh, does
towards
it?
the back, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So I mean, we could still offer a little service if needed. You know, if somebody was in a real pinch. If we save that van, but we're not paying. It was my understanding that the bus has the cameras and all that stuff on it, that we were paying a lot more for that vehicle.
Those were gone. I think every vehicle had cameras right before I came.
Okay,
And then I know, like, right when I had started, Patty had collected them all and they were sending them back. Like,
oh,
I don't know if it was Susan or who, but took all the cameras out of the vehicle,
okay.
so.
Well, then I would make a motion that the board institutes a policy change, that we're not conceiving of any use for the bus at this point in time, and we would direct our executive director to sell the bus.
I would second that.
I would third that.
Okay, so there's a motion by Turk, seconded by Schlicker. That we're not gonna go back into the transportation for the use of the bus and that we put that up for sale.
Carolyn said that's not what we said.
I heard the motion that they would sell it. I heard your translation of motion was that you wouldn't go back into transportation.
With the bus,
With a bus.
which I guess would mean sell it.
So if we sell it, we can't go back into it. Correct? Or should I just?
Well,
Yeah, okay.
conceivably, you always could at a later date, but I mean, we have no, at this point in time, we're not planning on instituting a transportation program. We're saying sell the bus.
That would be money that could be used to pay for in-home care. It could put food on a table.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it.
And I
So-
think with the new building, with so many opportunities there, you'll be wanting people to come
into
in,
it?
I mean, doing things there, so.
So the motion made by Turek, seconded by Schlicker is, you wanna redo your motion? Okay. So I get it, the wording proper.
Well, that to institute a policy change, that we will not be starting any transportation program anytime soon. So we would authorize Wendy to sell the bus.
Yeah, a second by Schlicker on that. Yep. All in, should we do a roll call on that or should we do just a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then the only other thing I wanted to talk about was, we had talked about in the past, once it got close to time to leaving, how are we gonna dispose of ACCOA assets? And it seems like to me that if Andy says some of this equipment's going to be used, but some of it won't. We've got a lot of stuff upstairs, we got that stuff downstairs, that I was proposing, I don't know who's on the fundraising committee, if it wouldn't be worthwhile to plan something for February and March, like an indoor garage sale. Have people come in here, buy things, but also make it that if somebody's got stuff in their house they want to sell, bring that in here also and make it as a donation for the ACCOA. I mean, I've got stuff in my house, I'll bring in, and whatever sells, we set up tables, and whatever sells, it goes towards defraying our cost of moving into the new place, as well as getting rid of the stuff. So, we've talked about having a yard sale in the past. We're getting to that point in time. Is that something that we want Wendy to start planning? Certain things they're gonna put on Facebook Marketplace or social media to see if we can sell, like the phone system. Okay, the popcorn popper, or the bingo machine, or the bingo sign, some of the things that might have value that might not be sold in a yard sale in here, that they're gonna list online, but there's things that I think we can start. We're only have 2 more months. I think, can we set something up? Does that sound like a good idea? It could be a first annual, you could do it every year, a midwinter garage sale. People do their spring cleaning rather than waiting till June or July to do a garage sale. Do an indoor garage sale in the new gym, and how much money would we raise every winter, just people getting rid of their stuff?
What does that FA bring in a lot of money, like members donate throughout the year and I don't know if anybody's ever been there, but.
Oh, yeah.
they have, like, yeah,
Yeah.
they have a huge pole barn, they have stuff outside, they have like 4 or 5 of those big circus tents full of stuff. And it's used each year for a different project. I mean, from what I was told was, one year they built that pole barn. A couple of years ago, they redid pickleball courts, like they just, each year they do a type of improvement and they raise thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, if we did it on a Saturday, I mean, after we get into the new place, if we did it on a February Saturday or March Saturday in the new gym and had refreshments and food for purchase, I mean, people are gonna come in and spend a little money.
Does the popcorn machine work?
Well, I don't know, we might want to keep that.
That's what I was wondering.
Tony was up there the other day and dug it out, but we need a 220 outlet to plug it in. And I wasn't sure where one was at in this building.
I bet there is one though.
I think probably there's gotta be one in the kitchen.
We have a problem popping up here that Robin would use.
It is, it's just a tiny
Oh,
little
it's
one.
different
This
one?
is like a
Oh,
movie
okay.
theater
Oh,
one.
okay.
And I mean, Megan makes popcorn for all, like, any of our activities and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, if we can get our hands on that big one, we wanna keep that, sure. So-
We did that here. We had the tables lined up. I think I was telling Dr. Turek and Wendy that, and this row of tables was $1, this row was $2, and that row $10 or whatever. And the only problem is, and everybody brought stuff, Black River, Greenbush, we brought stuff from the people. And it went over, we made a ton of money, but when it's all done and over with, you got a lot of stuff to get rid of.
So I
That
think
doesn't
we,
sell.
we call St. Vinny beforehand, say we're gonna be doing this. Can you send trucks on Saturday? I mean, it seems to me like a Saturday would be best to do this. February, March,
And a 2-day thing.
What Lost Lake does, but they go to like St. Vinny's in Mankato, they donate stuff, probably Goodwill and Escoda, all of the resale, they don't just bring it all to one place, they bring it, you know, so that they're not bringing a bunch of stuff to one place, they kind of dole it out to the,
Well, they, Mankato came and got everything. You
and I
know,
think we would, at that time, we could also do a dumpster and, you know, once we're taking stuff out of the attic there, stuff that is garbage, start and get with Brad Cole on that, but March, February, I mean, if the sooner we get it out in social media and people start planning,
I
the
think
better.
maybe the middle of March sometime. Because February is kind of soon to try to get it all, and try to get the word out and what are we gonna do if, somebody brings something in on February the 3rd and our sale's not until March the 3rd? Are we
I-
gonna store it?
Tell them to bring it back.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, I'll tell
So the Saturdays in March is March 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, 29th.
no, we can't really have a whole lot of stuff. Just
Right.
looking around, people walk the gym.
Friday afternoon, I think,
Tomorrow, on Wednesdays.
Yay, you brought the archery back.
So we'd have to, specify, bring it in on
Not that I do it,
Friday, our sale's
but
gonna
I
be
see it.
Saturday.
It is good.
so Friday afternoon, you know, start getting here, I mean, we'll get volunteers that'll come set up tables and we don't have, how many tables did you have at that time? Remember, we only have 4 now,
Oh,
right?
no, no, these were
Oh, all the ones in the base,
no, they had wood tables.
we
Big
still have them,
volunteers.
This whole building was.
but do we still have those tables?
No,
Probably 18 or 20 tables.
we don't have them now.
No, I don't know where they'd be.
No, he sold them.
Oh, okay.
Well, we can always approach Northeastern and see if they'll donate. They have tons of tables. If they'll donate for us the use of them for a day.
And
I
Brad-
can't imagine they'll have use.
Or the village,
Village.
village hall's got.
We
several
can
tables.
work on that, but do we have anybody that can come in and say that machine is worth $200 and that one's worth 500 or whatever? Because if somebody comes in, I know one lady comes in and exercises. She says, if we're gonna sell one, please let her know. But how much you're gonna ask for it? I said, I have no idea. I
Correct,
don't know how do you answer it? And who knows what kind of a price to put on that stuff?
I think, I just talked to
Andy
Andy
will know.
before the meeting, and a lot of this is gonna go over to the new place.
Mhm.
We
So,
got a lot on the stage
Correct,
too, though.
He
correct.
told me that.
so I think if we do the latter part of March, middle or latter part of March, that would give time for Andy, you know, to get stuff. You know, the gym will probably be, you know, closed down for a couple weeks before that. I don't think we go wrong by the middle of March.
You wanna
or
go the
latter
8th and 22nd, or do you wanna do the 15th and the 29th? How do you wanna, the 29th I wouldn't do because of. We're gonna be in the process of being over there. I mean, we
The
got.
8th,
pot
the
to-
weekend of the 8th. Weekend of the 8th.
Yeah, that would be the second Saturday of March.
Does that work for everybody?
So do we wanna
It
do it
gives
for
us enough
Friday?
time to start advertising.
So do we wanna do it for Friday, bringing the stuff in Saturday and Sunday, the sale, or? How do we wanna,
I go to church on Sunday.
well, quite a few of us. quite a few
Carolyn
of
goes
us-
to church on Sunday.
Right, but I mean, you could do
Well,
that.
we could do it. 2 days.
We could start like accepting stuff Friday morning, like up till noon or 1 or 2, and then start the sale after that, run it Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
And that way everybody's off on Sunday.
But it's hard to get all of it arranged.
Yes, it is.
You know, they're bringing it in on Friday morning. It's really hard to have everything in order by noon.
well, if
Well,
we
maybe
would close the gym,
A whole bunch of extra donations this time, just trying to get rid of the stuff that's here, and then. when
Do
we
another one
get
over there.
into The new one, maybe end of summer or something, we can do another one where we can take donations, but just have the one in March, just.
For the stuff that's here.
That's here in this building.
Do you
That's a
think
good
we have
idea.
enough stuff to do it? Do we have enough stuff to make a garage sale and bring people in?
Even if
Yes,
we just brought stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even if just the board and employees. Right.
But if we let us bring in, why don't we let everybody bring in? I mean, I'm just giving pros and cons. What makes us more money?
Everybody bringing stuff. But then we was having 80 and 90 people sitting downstairs to eat. So they were all bringing in. Now we've got 15 and 20. And, you know,
If they stay.
yeah. I don't know. I like the idea of having the outside people bring stuff in because.
but we can do another one for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to. like,
Also in March?
bombard ourselves. There's a certain amount of stuff that we have to get out of here.
Mhm.
And if we bring in a whole bunch of other stuff, they might buy the other stuff and not buy the stuff we want them to buy,
That's a good point.
you know? I,
Let's
So do two of them, like the 8th and then another one in March or after?
I'd say
some
after
other
we get
time.
in,
after you move in.
Cause we're gonna have a lot of stuff that we move over there
But that
that
could
we
be a
may
good
not use.
fundraiser for us to
Yeah.
do, but right now, this is to get rid of our stuff.
That way, maybe we can advertise and say, we're taking donations from, I'm just throwing these out there. You know, July 15th to July 31st, and then we're gonna have the yard sale on August 15th or whatever, but that gives people, because you know what's gonna happen, is people are gonna bring all their junk, whether, what it is, so somebody's gonna.
And then we
really
gotta deal
have
with
to
it.
Go through it and make sure it's
And they do too.
worth selling.
So we'll do March 8th just for ACCOA stuff.
Right,
I-
that's what I think.
I would agree with Pam.
I agree with Wendy.
Are we good? I mean, can you make that happen? Advertising,
For March.
newsletters?
Ask Lisa if she's gonna want any of those Chromebooks,
What are they?
little Chromebooks that they have
Oh.
up there, tablets.
Yeah, and Wendy, you were gonna talk to Mike about that whole phone system. If that's best to list, I mean, it's somebody somewhere has gotta have use for that.
Was their Verizon base, so you would have to have Verizon. And with them being office phones, they have to buy the program through Verizon. So it would have to be somebody that would buy the program that's needed for the phone. Through Verizon, and it has to be through Verizon.
But Verizon's the biggest company around,
Right.
so that shouldn't be too hard.
All right, so March 8th. And that's all new business I really had.
I don't know if this is considered a business, but,
If it's on your notes, it's probably old business, but go ahead.
well, this one we haven't discussed this, so
Okay, good.
whatever.
It'd be new.
If Brad owns this building now, are we gonna help him in any financial way to like pay his insurance on it, or are we gonna carry the insurance on this building until we move?
We've been-
Or are we gonna help Brad pay part of the insurance, or?
Okay. And he's like a rider on it.
So he knows that we
Yeah.
have it.
I know Andy is talking to him and keeping
we-
him in the loop for sure.
We are keeping the insurance paid.
We're
On
paying
this,
the insurance on
correct.
this, so, but if Brad owns it,
He's a rider.
He's a rider.
He's a
okay,
writer.
okay.
Everything's covered.
Yep, they've already signed all the paperwork, we did all that.
Okay, well, I was just. wondering
Andy talks to
about
him pretty
Andy
frequently.
talks to him
if they're
regularly.
doing anything to offset some of the costs that Brad is absorbing now.
He's not really absorbing anything yet.
Couldn't be absorbing anything right now. Except for lack of
Well,
tearing it apart and redoing it.
unless, unless he's the one paying the insurance on it.
We are.
which we are.
Yeah.
I know, that's what I'm asking. That's
Anything
what I asked.
that happens, we paid for. Which we're getting nickel and dime on a lot of stuff, so it's really nice to get moved. So.
Okay. Anything else, Doris? I know.
Not on new
Okay,
business, I
okay,
got a couple of.
all right. Public comment, I'll close new business, public comment, there's no one in attendance. Directors, additional comments and concerns. You have any? Yeah, okay. Leroy? Good.
And- Well.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering about our lawsuit with Lenny. Where are we standing on that now?
It's in litigation.
So there's nothing happening or?
There was a schedule provided to us that we've given documents that we were asked to provide. And the schedule is proceeding. So nothing, no news on that.
Well, no news is good news though, right?
Exactly. That's what they claim.
And also the property in Harrisville, our one meeting, you said that the people were late with their payments or something. Has that all been taken care of?
They brought it back up to date and then now they're months behind.
Wow.
Hmm,
They caught it up, then they got late again.
yep,
Monday, he just got evicted because he was a week and a half late. Continuously.
and I talked to Tim and he said he didn't want to cause no problems for us, and if we have to give it back, he'll give it back, but all of a sudden, the payment started coming up and bam, he got all caught up and now he owes for January again, so. I don't know if it's I don't know how he gets paid driving semi, I don't know how he. You know, he's a flatbed hauler, does he get paid miles by a monthly thing? I don't know. So I can reach out to him again and. I mean, I've been reaching out quite often and telling him, but I'm not his financial advisor, so it's up to us, I guess, you know, it's. Like I said, do we want it back or do we wanna, you know, let him make the payments late and pay the penalty? It's,
Still money in the pocket,
exactly. Taxes we don't have to pay.
I don't think we really want it back. I wouldn't think.
Let him keep making the payments as he's been, you know, I know he's late
If
and he
he's
pays
selling
the
it.
extra fee.
otherwise, if you don't sell it, then you're just paying
Well,
taxes.
Yeah, drop in price.
Property
Yeah.
tax has been, did he pay? I mean, has it been taken care of?
I don't know. I didn't ask him enough. I do know he didn't have a whole lot of good stuff to say about property taxes.
That's his responsibility. So,
Right. Yeah, that's his, oh yeah, that's his baby. Yep, so all we can do is keep reaching out. I'll keep reaching out to him. I just don't, like I said, I'm really not a financial advisor for him, but I know I gotta make calls every month, it seems like, sometimes twice a month.
Well, he's just, what, a month behind?
Yep.
That's nothing really.
Not in the winter, no.
No, it's not that bad.
He did say flatbed hauling they don't pay as much as they do
I'm
for
gonna put it in with,
other type of.
Well,
thing.
unless you want it in here.
Yeah. it's like for-
I'll put it in with ours.
Yep.
And if we have to give him a break,
So
a little bit of a break,
a little bit of a breakup.
yeah.
Okay.
My opinion, as long as Phil is willing to continue on seeing what he can do and until it becomes the point in time where Phil comes to the board and says, this isn't
Time's up.
working, then we leave it up to Phil.
Okay. Bob, you have anything else?
I do not.
Pam?
I do not.
Carolyn? Okay. Meeting adjourned, next regular meeting, February 25th, 2025, 10 a.m. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Meeting adjourned.